and welcome to Fox 10 Talks this morning. We so appreciate you joining us. Ron is off this week, and so we've got the ladies in this morning to talk about some of our big topics of the day.
You know what we call this?
What do we call Girls Who Gab?
You know it.
And so thank you for all of you already in the chat this morning. We've got Louis Gonzalez here with us. We've got Mr. Paul Valine, Mike Fernandez, and plenty of you. Jared of Sonora, thank you so much. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing. We so appreciate it. We're going to get right to kind of our big stories of the morning. And Krystal, thank you for coming in to join us as well. I know you've been very busy the last several
It's been a stretch, that's
days.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Last couple of weeks? Really?
About.
Since the end of August, we've had active weather.
Last week of the monsoon, and my husband was asking me, he's like, the monsoon's over, right? And I said, yeah. And it was that last big storm that really pushed those numbers up, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, we still have another day today to talk about rain.
So, and I love that you brought Sophia in on Saturday morning. She's a future budding meteorologist.
Yes, the newest member.
Speaking of the weekend, because you work Saturday morning, let's take a look at some of that weekend rain that we experienced here. Not quite over just yet. This was the video taken in Mesa over the weekend, and a very, very busy weekend. And you see people kind of trying to make their way in and around town as well. So severe rainstorms leading to flooding in the valley, destroying some homes in places like Mesa. You see this park is in Scottsdale, and so you had some issues there in Scottsdale as well.
We had a lot of rain. I was, I mean, delighted to see it because we need it. But then, of course, you're always thinking about the people who are impacted by the rain, the flooding, and some of the negative things that can happen. But I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every day we had rain.
Yeah, it's been so far 4 days of measurable rain, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then likely today as well. We're already seeing it across the state, and then we've got more to come later on today. Tomorrow, though, guys, is the dry out day. So we're almost at the end of this very long stretch of tropical moisture. And not just speaking for myself, but you're right, for me too.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's take a look at this. We did have a situation where there was a canoe rescue. This was, of course, in Maricopa County, the sheriff's, or Yavapai County, that is, but the sheriff's office in Maricopa County, they were called in to assist with this effort. It's wild when you look at this image because maybe you think maybe it's Tennessee or Kentucky. It's so green, right, with all the rain we've received. But no, this was up in Yavapai County. A lot of people will kayak and canoe through some of the rivers, especially the Verde River. We're not entirely sure if that was the case here, but yeah, there was a big rescue up there, and DPS was called in to assist as well. There were 7 people stuck on canoes during flash flooding on Saturday, and the helicopter here, that DPS helicopter, being pulled in to help with some of the efforts. But Krystal, that's what we saw over the course of the weekend, is a lot of those washes. There was so much rain in our higher elevations as well, right? So we saw a lot of situations like this.
Yeah, and that's what we were warning about, right? Last week when we were getting ready for the moisture from Priscilla and then eventually from Raymond, we were saying that the concern was going to be that our canals, our washes that are normally dry, the rivers and tributaries that may usually be running quite a bit lower, were going to all be filling up because of how much rain we were getting. And that is certainly what we've been seeing and are actually still seeing around the state. Do you want to take a look at some of the storm totals?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll go over to my weather graphics. Yeah, there you go. So these are some of the rain totals between Thursday and Sunday. Down in Gila Bend at the Air Force Auxiliary Field, they picked up 3 3/4 of an inch. In Flagstaff, officially 2.5 inches. Show Low, officially at the airport there, a little over an inch. Prescott, 1 and almost 3, well, a little over 3/4 of an inch. And then in Globe, it kind of depended on where you were around the Globe area, but gauges reporting usually about 2 to 3 inches. And I did see some of the mountains off just outside of Globe, which, remember, everything drains down towards Globe, was closer to 4 inches of rain that fell there. So some big totals. We warned that 1 to 3 inches, somewhat widespread, was possible. And as you can see, that was generally what ended up happening. And in some cases, even more than that 1 to 3 inches. At Phoenix Sky Harbor, this was the breakdown. It was 1/10 of an inch on Thursday, 1/4 of an inch on Friday, almost 3/4 of an inch on Saturday, and then nearly 2 inches of rain on Sunday that fell. So we had a pretty good dose of rain overnight Friday, Saturday morning, and then obviously a very healthy dose early Sunday morning and through the morning hours that brought us to that total of altogether over 3 inches of rain at Sky Harbor in that 4-day spell. So huge numbers. This is a better way of looking at it. This is from Maricopa County Flood Control District, and these are the numbers again, over the last week, but realistically over the last 4 days because we didn't have any rain after that or before that. So in the West Valley, totals were somewhere between 1 to 2, a little over inches for the most part. You can see that by the White Tank Mountain area, about 2.5 inches near Surprise, 2 1/10 or a quarter or so in the Glendale area, and then a little less as you got into like downtown Phoenix and up towards like the, well, not quite to Deer Valley, right around 1.5 inches of rain. Then we went a little farther east, and this is where the totals got bigger. So Scottsdale was 1 to 2 inches of rain, but the East Valley proper was more like 2 to 3, 4 inches even in a few spots of rain that you see. And that 4 inches extends even as you head down the 60 outside of the valley into Pinell County. So these were some huge numbers that we got over the last 4 days. But again, we were expecting this. And overall, the way that Maricopa County Flood Control District has set up our city to have these canals, to have these retention areas, to have these dams, they ran as they were supposed to. They gathered water. They're full right now. They're running, but they drained as they were supposed to. Of course, there was street flooding right when it was happening. I can say I live in a neighborhood where there's nearby like an artificial lake, and it was completely full to the brim and over it because of just how much rain fell over in the East Valley. So some big totals.
I think you bring up a good point. In a lot of our communities here in the valley, you have those retention basins where like they're in the middle of the neighborhoods, or maybe they have like a soccer field or a playground or something there.
And that's the key. Kids will be playing in them.
And so
they're not used to the water in there.
Right. But it holds the water during these huge storm systems. And so it helps in that way to a certain extent.
Definitely the point of it. Yeah, that's why there's so many of those, on the outside of neighborhoods and everything, is to collect all that rainwater if and when it happens, especially because a lot of times it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it needs somewhere to go because we're a big valley with a lot of concrete, a lot of pavement, and the water needs to drain somewhere. So that's what those are there for. And they did their job for the most part. There were some areas that it was just too much water, like in Mesa where we saw some of that video coming out.
Also up in the Globe, Miami area, I know Danielle was up there within the past hour or so, and she said it's raining, and obviously that is a huge concern. We need the rain. The rain is good, but for the communities that have just been pounded the past couple of weeks, it's tough.
Yeah. So unfortunately, let's see here. I'm seeing my computer try to turn off on me. Nope, we're good. Unfortunately, there is more rain. Like you just said, it's already been raining this morning. There is more to come. In fact, if you want to go back to my graphics, we can look at radar. And I mean, there's still a lot of rain out there. There are pockets that are heavier, and there is one severe thunderstorm warning that we will take a look at. But this is the general motion of all the storms as they're moving right now. So some of the storm action that you see in like far southern Pima County is likely to trigger some showers of thunderstorm action into the valley here in the next few hours. And then we've got rain in Tucson. We've got rain in southeastern Arizona. We have rain around the Globe area too. There's the look at the severe thunderstorm warning that's in place just off to the northeast of Parker. And I actually think that this is a new warning. So let me clear the map and I'll requery it so we can see how long it's in place.
So
for.
while you're pulling that up, Krystal, I'll just read a couple of comments here because people are saying that they've, like Brandy the Bookworm says, I remember the Century Storm years ago that everything and everywhere was flooded and dry washes look like raging rivers. I love storms. Lil Philosophy says, I believe Globe is expecting more rain for the next 3 days. And Krystal, you can touch on that in a second. Mr. Pavoline says, at my park from the house, I can hear the water rushing down. It is so cool. Kind of speaking to what we were just chatting about with all the water moving in.
Yes, yeah. So I got the little update on the severe thunderstorm warning. It is still till 10:15, and this is just off to the east of Lake Havasu City. Concern with that one is damaging winds. Of course, this is up in Mojave County. There is now a flood advisory as well because of the amount of rain that has fallen. I mean, it's not going to take a lot of rain for places to flood today because our ground is so saturated. I've been explaining is like if you've got a sponge and you've already filled it up with water, you can't add more water. That sponge is not going to absorb any more water. It's just going to run off it. And that's what's happening with our ground. You mentioned Globe potentially getting more storms. Yeah. Yes to Globe getting more storms today, it looks like. Not for the next 3 days, just for today. And then they should dry out over the next couple of days, fortunately. But if we put the timeline on this, this model shows some scattered storms passing the valley by around midday and into the early afternoon. But at that same time, Globe is getting some scattered showers and thunderstorms as well. And some of those thunderstorms could be on the heavier side. This continues to lift to the northeast part of the state as we head into early this evening. And then overnight, it'll start to thin out and lighten up before we finally dry out, guys, tomorrow. So again, for the valley, I would say by around noon or so, we could see some thunderstorms rolling through into the early afternoon hours. For Globe, it's much of the afternoon. They will still have the chance for some pockets of storms that may be on the heavier side. And that is why that flood watch is still in place for pretty much all of the valley, Gila County, and then all of southeastern Arizona is because of that concern for additional flooding. That's the top threat, but severe storms could produce lightning, hail, or some damaging winds too.
Brandy the Bookworm has a question, and I'm glad that she's asking this because I was thinking to ask the same. Where are we as far as our drought levels? I know a lot of that is snowpack. Does the actual rain impact our drought levels?
Sure, like this amount of rain will likely help decrease the depth of drought we are in. It will not erase our drought. Like you said, you need really good snowpack years that fill our reservoirs, that soak into our ground for a month or two as they melt off. You're not going to get that out of this amount of rain, but this is obviously always helpful for anytime we can get rain. It's going to be helpful.
I remember covering like a lot of these stories many years ago when it came to like the drought in Arizona and the Southwest. And you bring up a good point that even if we get a lot of rain here, a lot of it depends on the mountains to the north of us, like through Utah and Colorado, and the snow melts, of course, like later into the winter months or in the spring, and then it kind of, it helps out with that drought. But we can't get it all at once. It doesn't help us as much.
Yeah, it's even like that with the winter season. If you have too much snow and then you have a dry rest of the season and that snow melts too early, then you don't get as much efficiency in terms of runoff as you do if you get like a snow and melt, or a kind of long-lasting snow that creates a huge snowpack that can gradually melt in the spring. But in terms of rain, anything is helpful. Having more soil moisture is helpful to our short-term drought. So there's definitely some positive impacts. Absolutely. The hope is that some of this will also absorb into our aquifers, which is always good. So definitely some benefits, but I do not expect to lift us out of drought.
A quick question, if I may, and we have less than a minute before we hit our break. Maybe silly, but it used to be growing up, we always said if you had a really hot summer, you'd have a really cold winter. Will this give us any indication of what type of winter we're going into?
Not necessarily. And we've discussed this a little bit, but we are now, it looks like, under a La Nina watch. So those sometimes tend to bring us drier winters, not always. So no, not any clear guidance on that, but we do love the rain when we can get it.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Krystal. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at your mystery camera this morning. Well, you got a Walgreens.
And it's raining.
And it's pretty cloudy.
That looks like a good Walgreens.
And you have a little bit of fall colors moving through, I think, right? Fairly flat.
I'm going with Wisconsin or Michigan.
Okay, Wisconsin or Michigan. Krystal, any thoughts on this on the mystery camera?
Maybe Iowa?
You're usually at the helm of this.
I know.
The show.
Well, I would say I should recognize it probably, but I don't.
Yeah, your answer right after the break. Welcome back, everyone. There's your mystery camera this morning. And Anita, what was your guess, sister?
I said, what did I say?
Did you say Wisconsin?
I said Wisconsin.
Michigan or Wisconsin?
Maybe Michigan. Gina, any guesses? That picture right there?
We've got Gina Swoboda here, head of the Republican Party, on the show this morning, and she just stepped in.
Yes, it does look like Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
It does look like Wisconsin.
Okay, we've got other guesses here in the chat box. Mr. Pavoline says Georgia. Desi T8 says Texas. We've got a Kansas from Louis Gonzalez. Be Kind Forever, Ohio, as well as Brandy the Bookworm and Christine Carroll, Oklahoma. I'm going to go with like an Iowa.
Either way,
would you like to do the honors?
Brandy the Bookworm says it's a cute little town, and it certainly does look like
that is so true.
Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
New York.
So fitting because
So fitting
because Gina Swoboda here. You're the head of the Republican Party. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning.
To
Thank
Fox
you so
10
much for
Talks.
having me.
Originally from Queens, New York.
Yes.
Many years ago.
Yes, 30 years ago.
We want to
You're
welcome
not that
you
old.
to the
You're barely
friendliest
35.
friendliest chat on YouTube.
Right on.
And many of you may have some questions for Gina this morning. We had a head of the Democratic Party on last week here.
Yes.
And we thought only fitting. We want to make sure we give both sides here some opportunities to chat. We were just chatting 30 years. You've been in the Valley.
I have.
From New York.
I love it. I love Arizona.
How did you fall into this? You said you're a policy nerd, never
Yes.
kind of thought this would happen.
Correct. Political. So I've always been policy. I liked watching politics. I like horse racing, boxing, and politics as hobbies.
All similar.
They are right. They are very similar. But I love policy, which, is the foundation of it all. And when my predecessor had to kind of step away, in January of 24, the president asked me if I would step in, and our beautiful, wonderful state committeeman put me in the chair. And then the president and the state committeeman asked me to stay in the chair this January after we landed the plane. And thus, I am now the chair.
What's it like getting that phone call? And
it's wild.
Unexpectedly as well.
It's wild. So for 3 days, people were like, Gina, Donald J. Trump wants you to be the chair. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
And had you ever
sell me the
spoken to
Brooklyn
president
Bridge?
prior?
No,
nothing.
So on day 3, I said, okay, look, if truly the president wants me to do this, then the president could call me. And I'm thinking this is like saying, and Moses can come and part the Red Sea, and I'll go my merry way. No, they called, and the legend gets bigger in my mind. I found out he was on Trump Force One when he called later. Yeah. So yes, he called, and I was like, "Are you sure you have the right Gina, sir?" Mm-hmm. I'm a nerd. I'm an election nerd. He said, "I know that." He knew exactly who I was, and so yes, and he said, "Will you fight for me?" And I said, "I'll fight like heck." I'll fight like crazy. He can sell sand in the Sahara.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of the desert and speaking of the president, let's take a listen. We're going to listen in this morning. He is speaking live at this hour at the Peace Summit.
We're close to breaking $18 trillion in 8 months. That's pretty amazing. No country's ever done that. I want to also thank Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and my son-in-law and a great guy, Jared Kushner. And I even have my daughter here, Ivanka. Ivanka, please stand up. Ivanka's here. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Ivanka. We have a great team, and we have, as you know, General Raisin Cain. We have John Radcliffe. We have Tom Barrack. We have really a lot of good talent. We have Pete Hegseth, who's now Department of War as opposed to Department of Defense. We made a little change. Somehow I like the name better, so do you, so do a lot of people. But the momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's with God's help, it'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things. There are many other things in life that are so good. The final sprint to this deal began less than 3 weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations in New York. I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together. I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all. But you'll never find out who they are. Maybe you will, come to think of it. But I have most of you who I like a lot, and I respect a lot. Maybe that's more important. We listened, and we exchanged ideas, and we kept pushing forward until the job was done, and the first steps to peace are always the hardest. And today we've taken them, and we've put them all together, and we've come up with this beautiful mix like nobody thought was possible. And as you know, I've just come from Israel. It was an amazing day to watch the hostages come in and to watch all of the other things and do all of the other things that we did. And like all of us here this evening, the Israeli people are overjoyed that the war has ended. Many of you have had dancing in the streets. They had dancing in the streets. And they've been dancing for weeks now once they heard about this and they heard that it was even a possibility. They're elated at the arrival of the hostages and excited to begin this new chapter for the entire region, and it's going to be that, and they are going to be great partners, and I hope everybody's going to join the Abraham Accord. I like to say the Avraham. I love Avraham, but somehow it doesn't sound as good when I say it as it does when some of my other friends.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. You're just listening here to President Trump at the Peace Summit. By the way, we are streaming this as well on YouTube if you'd like to check it out. And Gina Swoboda here in the studio with us, in our streaming studio, head of the Republican Party in Arizona.
20 hostages released.
Oh, God is great. God bless the president. I've waited my whole life for this opportunity for someone to go and be able to bring everybody together. He is a deal maker. That's what he does. That's what he loves to do.
This is step one, though, of 20.
Oh, yes.
And I know a lot of people are affected and talk about this. How quickly, how possible is step 2, 3, 4, so on?
So we've already had Israel withdraw to the first line on the map, and now we've had the living hostages, God bless them, returned. And the next step is those who devastatingly for their families are no longer with us. And, you know, as you're looking at the live feed, the entire region and then all the world leaders that have been trying to execute negotiations for all this time are there. So everyone is as invested. I believe this is the greatest chance for peace there will be. And I believe the people, the Palestinian people need change. They need to be able to live. They need an economy. This is the opportunity to do that for everyone. So just all our prayers are with all of them that this opportunity is all that it should be.
We want to make sure that we ask a couple of questions, Arizona specific.
Of course.
And we have some really good questions on our chat box. Lil Philosophy is asking a question, and so is Be Kind Forever. So we'll get to both of those. Be Kind Forever is asking, so happy to see you. I know she says, I always ask this, but what kind of power do you have when it comes to education? We are last in the union.
Education is one of the top 3 issues for the people of Arizona. It is huge. We are an example for the rest of the country on school choice. We have the broadest school choice program of any in the country. As you may know, there's a little contretemps within the party. I believe any taxpayer-funded program needs guardrails and audits. Regardless of what the program is. I used virtually every form of school choice. My son was in the Scottsdale public school, and then we homeschooled through AZ Virtual Academy, right? Yeah. They would send you all of the school supplies, science, experiment kits, art supplies. It was fantastic. And then he went to the charter schools. Had we had this expansion of the ESA, I would absolutely have put him, in a top tier private school, which I myself and my husband could not have afforded. I wish that choice to continue to exist. Thus, I think we need to assure the taxpayers and the public that we are properly monitoring the spending, because if we don't, I think the voters will say no. But yes, how can we be at the bottom? So there are a lot of things that go into that, one of which is property taxes, as the courts have told us numerous times, and they just recently did it again. It's unconstitutional the way you're funding the schools if it's purely based on property taxes, because when that happens, then, obviously the wealthier zip code has better resources than people that are on the other side of town.
Right,
okay?
Right.
In addition to that, most of our land is federal land. So other states that are funding everything have all kinds of taxes happening on land that we just don't even have access to. So Prop 123 is going to be on the ballot this election cycle in 2026, and it's going to determine how we are drawing those funds down. I hope that we can enshrine school choice in the Constitution as part of that. And again, that is only going to happen if the public believes we're properly monitoring.
And I think you bring up a good point, because you mentioned school choice. I think for a lot of people with children with special needs, that is a big thing.
It's a huge issue.
Because then you can choose to send your child to a specialized school for those with dyslexia or special needs in other areas. And then they have more of a tailored education, specific to their need. We want to make sure that we're going to play a little bit. We had Charlene Fernandez from the Democratic Party, and last week she shared a little bit of where she sees Arizona going in the future. We want to play this and then get your thoughts on what she had to share. So let me go ahead and play this here this morning. Oh, can you put your headphones on real quick, Gina? Thank you so much. Let me see. Which one is it, Dave? Is it
at 5?
Okay, where it's not popping up here. You see it?
Oh yeah, it's not popping up.
It's not popping up on
Desire
the.
to unify our party. We have.
you.
We're
It
the
wasn't
party
on the
of
board.
the people. I know there's people that stand on both sides of the aisle, but I do know that we're the party of the people. We're the party that brought Social Security that helps everyone. We're the party that brought Medicare that helps everyone. The Affordable Care Act, and I can go on and on and on. So I wanted them to understand that I know that I lived it. Those are lived experiences, either by myself or my family, or the many people that came into my my congressional office for services.
And we heard the big news today, obviously, Katie Hobbs kind of seeking that re-election. Celeste, great interview with her talking about the challenges ahead. And obviously you talked about unifying. What's the next year going to be like? Because obviously she's still governing, but also through the campaign. How does she balance that?
It's going to be tough because she's everywhere. I've never seen a governor, maybe Napolitano, that reaches out to rural areas as much as Governor Hobbs does. She knows about water and how it's important. We hear it up here for housing, but you got to think about in Yuma County, we're the lettuce capital of the world. I don't know how many of you know that. So we feed the world with the lettuce and the winter greens that we grow. Water is critical to Yuma County, and this governor understands it and has been fighting for us and with us.
I think we can all unite under lettuce and say we all love a good salad, right, Gina?
Well, I'm a little bit of a meat and pasta eater.
Say, how about some lettuce
But
and hamburger?
I love to support our farmers that grow that lettuce.
We're going to take a quick break, get Gina's thoughts after the break.
Okay, good.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I know you're chiming in, and some people are like, hey, that's Dakota, or that's Duluth. We are giving Dino a call, and as soon as we get a hold of him, we will share with you whether or not that is indeed the case. But a beautiful shot there. You see some of those yachts on the water. And welcome back, everyone. Gina Swoboda here in with us. We just heard that comment from Charlene Fernandez, head Democratic Party. Your thoughts on just as you look ahead for the Republican Party here in Arizona?
Well, I
know that's a huge question.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you. So where I think the Democrat Party failed last cycle, not to help Charlene, I don't think she needs help, but I do appreciate her and her frankness in the interview, is they weren't talking to the voters about the things that the voters cared about. So that's step one to convincing someone to vote for you is, do you understand me and where I'm coming from and my needs and how to improve my life? Because that is the only reason people are going to vote, right? And I just think I actually think there continues to be a lot of discussion from the Democrat Party about things that are of no meaning to the average American's life. So from my perspective, if we continue to meet the people where they are, not where we think they should be, and we address their issues, then we will succeed.
So what are the issues then? What is it that the people of Arizona care about? We have Governor Katy Hobbs, as we just heard, running for re-election, making that announcement last week. We also have 3 pretty high-profile Republicans running, 2 of whom already have the endorsement from the president.
Yes. The issues when we talk to the people, all of the people, are education, access to health care, by which we don't mean a government-funded plan with premiums that you have to subsidize when the country's bankrupt. We mean real access to health insurance so you can actually get health care, and the inflation jobs. It was border security. The president has succeeded beyond everybody's wildest expectations securing the border, so people are feeling more comfortable, and that's moving down to number 4. But we still do have concerns about the cost of living. And for young people, it's housing and jobs.
And gas prices.
And that's under the inflation bucket.
Yeah,
and some of that, thank you. And some of that I will say, the legislature, the Republican majority in the legislature continues to try to advance bills to take us off the blend that is making it more expensive in Arizona than in other states, and the governor's not signing it.
Well, and I think the odd thing is you'll drive up to Flagstaff and you'll have one set of prices. You'll drive down to Yuma, it's $3.19. You're here in the valley, you're in $3.99.
And it's different.
So, and let's move on to this next topic. We only have about 3 more minutes with you, but let's government shutdown and your thoughts on that. It's like this mammoth concept that is happening at the federal level, but it really does affect us here locally.
It does, my lady, and this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about vis-a-vis is the party of the left talking to the people. So we have had multiple shutdowns, and every time we've had a shutdown, the Democrat Party has said, you do not hold the people of the United States hostage over a policy issue when you couldn't get the votes for the policy issue, okay? This is a clean bill to keep the government funded, and Chuck Schumer and crew in the Senate are refusing to give the votes we need to get to 60. We don't have every single Republican is voting in the Senate to reopen the government. We need Democrat votes. Senator Fetterman in Pennsylvania is voting. It looks like Jeanne Shaheen, who is the senator from New Hampshire, who is a Democrat, wants to come on. We need Democrats to support reopening the government. If you want to talk about the ACA, also known as Obamacare subsidies, talk about that under regular order when it's time to debate a bill. The time to talk about it is not when the TSA agents aren't being paid and federal law enforcement isn't being paid. Most people, I would hazard a guess, cannot get by if you cut off their paycheck.
Right.
And that's what's happening.
Which is why a lot of people aren't going to work, for example, TSA agents.
Correct, which slows it all.
We are seeing, last Friday, they were talking about massive delays at Phoenix Sky Harbor alone, let alone, I think it was Nashville.
Well, what happened was we were flying out on Friday. It was the delays at LA.
Okay.
People calling in sick at LA. And then that plane was headed to Salt Lake City. And then that plane was late. And then that plane was headed here to Phoenix, which made it late. And so it's a domino effect.
Yes. And Senator Kelly and Senator Gallego continue to talk about wanting to increase the premium subsidies for Obamacare, which the Democrats themselves wrote in a sunset provision. Those subsidies were to get through COVID because people weren't working.
Break that down. What does that mean for the regular person?
In about a minute.
Yeah.
Hey, can do.
You're smart.
For the regular person, if you're getting your insurance through the marketplace, we the Democrat majority took you off a lot of your employer-sponsored plans to put you in the marketplace. Your premiums were subsidized during COVID because everything was closed. The Democrats, the Democrats, taxpayer funding to help you afford those premiums. Democrats sunset that in a bill. Now the sunset's in effect, and they're holding the whole government hostage, saying, add this to the clean bill to keep the government going. The time for that is in regular order. We're not in regular order. Stop holding the American people hostage. Reopen the government.
All right, Gina, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Gina Swoboda, head of the Republican Party here in Arizona.
I love it.
Yeah, you'll have to come back for sure. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. Also, I'm going to go back to this shot here this morning, and what you have, where is this again? Oakland. This is Oakland, California. So many of you were chiming in, kind of giving this a big guess this morning, and that was kind of,
I would
a beautiful
not have
shot.
guessed Oakland, and I've been there.
Absolutely. All right. This morning we are also chatting with Eric Wilson at TMZ. So let's go right to him this morning. Eric, good morning, my friend. Good
Hi,
to see you.
Eric.
Good morning. How's it going, guys?
My first thought is you have what looks like a sweater or a hoodie or
You
something.
cold in there, AC or weather?
I'm getting ready for we're expecting some rain this week. I'm just getting myself in that mindset. It's always a rough transition from summer to fall.
We've had about 4 days of rain. I think it was almost 3 inches at the airport here yesterday, which is unheard of almost here in Arizona.
It's been crazy.
I think we're closer to 1 or 2 inches this week, but still for LA.
Yeah.
It is a lot. You're right. Let's jump right into this topic with Katy Perry and what is happening in her love life. I think this is making not just entertainment headlines, but political headlines as well.
A lot is happening in her love life.
Yeah, we broke the story back in June that her and Justin Trudeau seemed to have been dating or gone on a few dates. Obviously, we saw Justin at her concert while she was up touring in Canada. And now these new photos have surfaced from September 29th. So they're kind of old, but still, somewhat recent as far as relationships go. I would assume they're still, in this mode, or, we haven't seen anything recently, but it's safe to say that they are getting hot and heavy on this yacht in Santa Barbara. They're making out. I don't know why he's wearing jeans, but they are, definitely something's going on. They can't deny it any longer, it seems.
I wonder if Katy had the same comment. I don't know why you're wearing jeans.
It didn't seem to bother her or stop her from kissing him, but it was. I guess Canadian tuxedos you wear them everywhere.
Hey, you had to go there. You had to go there.
Hey, and if you're comfortable enough with somebody to wear jeans, then I think maybe they could be the one, at least for now. Who knows?
Yeah. If you can look past the jeans on a yacht, you can look past anything.
So let's chat about Diane Keaton. When I heard about this, Anita, I don't know about you. My goodness, I think that she was so a part of, just life for a lot of people. And it was heartbreaking to see that she had passed.
Yeah. I don't know if I said this on here before, but I've been at TMZ a little over a year, and the loss I've seen in the celebrity world or in Hollywood has been crazy. This past year, Diane Keaton, another legend, passed away. We still don't know what the circumstances were surrounding her her death, but we do know that, or we at least have heard that in the last few months, she did fall ill, and it seemed to have progressed pretty quickly because only her really, really close friends knew what was going on, and we still don't.
Her career just spanned every genre, from Annie Hall to the crime mobster flicks. I think one of my favorite Diane Keaton movies, and you guys might laugh at me, Something's Gotta Give.
Oh, that's
with
a good
Keanu
movie.
Reeves. I just loved her personality in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, what would name a bad Diane Keaton movie?
You can't.
You'd be hard-pressed to do it. I was sitting at my desk singing from First Wives Club, You Don't Owe Me, earlier. So, it's everyone has their favorite Keaton moment.
Oh, my goodness. That is such a good one. I always remember her in Father of the Bride.
Oh, that was classic.
And that's one that a lot of people have been mentioning.
Yeah, she was great in that movie.
It's going to become a cult classic now or something, because a lot of people are getting into that one.
And I think I always remember when Frank, you've seen it, right, Eric, as Frank, the wedding plan. Oh, you
mean Frank? You mean Frank? You haven't seen it?
I don't know. People are
you have to go home and watch Frank.
You're going to have to come.
Yeah,
so
it's good.
I have to ask.
I think everyone's recommended it, so I think that's the one to watch now.
What's kind of the hot topic there with you guys this morning? I know you guys taped the show there in the TMZ newsroom. What's kind of been the chatter, and what are you guys chasing today?
We're talking a lot of Katy. We're talking a lot of Mark Sanchez, that case is still unfolding.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out what's going on with that. He was released from the hospital this weekend, and said a thank you to his surgeons and the first responders. And he's his baby mom also spoke out. I believe he has an 8-year-old and the mother of that child. They're not together, but she spoke out and she said that she's not surprised that he was in this sort of incident. So more details are coming out with that, but it's slow rolled, and we'll see where this ends, or hopefully we'll get a more clear as how this started at least soon.
Well, we had a story this morning that said it started over a parking spot, and then he actually spoke very briefly. He walked out of the hospital, mentioned something about wanting to move forward with recovery, wanting to see his wife and his kids, and that was all he was going to be commenting on for now, at least. So it will be interesting to see. I mean, people can take that in many, many ways, right?
Well,
what kind of recovery?
The parking space thing just seems, why, how did this escalate so quickly over a parking spot? And why are you worried about the guy who's clearly there to do his job in this loading dock area? So there's definitely a lot of questions, and the parking spot situation doesn't really clear it up.
One last question for you, not necessarily about maybe any of the celebrities, but I happened to be in like East LA, Orange County over the weekend. That helicopter crash at Huntington Beach, was that not crazy?
That was insane, yeah. And apparently everyone in the world was there because we have so many different angles of the crash. But yeah, it was a very dramatic crash, and thank God there was not more loss of life than there was. But yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Very
Eric,
dramatic.
thank you so much for your time this morning. We so appreciate it. And stay warm and bundled up in that hoodie, my friend. You're looking good.
It's going to hit the 60s. We're, it's going to be crazy out here.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
You too.
Yeah, TMZ right here on Fox 10 and as well as on Channel 45. And check them out. We kind of like to chat with them several times throughout the week. They cover a lot of what's going on.
Stuff.
They do. Okay, so we're going to go. I know we haven't touched on the poll question this morning. We have a couple of minutes. We're going to go to that right now. And it has to do with some of the global issues that we're kind of dealing with here. Now that the hostages have been returned, how confident are you in the idea of peace? Right now, 62% of you say kind of. This is the first step of a long and uncertain path towards peace. 22% of you say not at all. The area has been plagued by violence for too long to ever see peace. And 16% say very. The international diplomatic efforts are big steps toward peace. We'll go to the YouTube poll and Dave after a quick break. Let's leave you with this pretty shot here this morning. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. We bring you these beautiful shots from all around the country, and this one with that very industrial-looking bridge.
Cloudy skies there, cloudy skies here.
Yeah, lots of artwork, very modern, contemporary artwork there this morning. Okay, let's give some of you kind of a big shout out. We're going to go right to the chat and to the YouTube poll this morning. And Darla, good morning to you. Little philosophy. Be kind forever. Louis Gonzalez. And Too Old Farts 2.0. Fart is with a PH.
Are they talking about us?
I don't know. Yeah, they said, loved Diane Keaton, my favorite modern actress. We do have someone new in the chat this morning, as well. Yes. I'm going to kind of move down through it because I was just chatting with them. Dakota WX1. So Dakota Weather 1 is brand new. They said they're new to the chat, and then many of you kind of chimed in and said, awesome, welcome to the chat.
We love new people to chat. We love all of our old friends who joined us every single day. Thank you so much.
Okay, we shared the other poll. Do you want to chat about the YouTube poll? Let's go to that now.
So let's go ahead and take a look right now. We are talking about now that the hostages have been released. We're talking from Gaza, that Hamas released the hostages. How confident are you in the idea of finding peace in the Middle East? 12% say very. We have 34% saying kind of, which is pretty equal with the other poll. That was, I think, the leading answer as well.
Yes.
54%, however, say not at all. That region, that area has been plagued with violence for far too long. So there were a lot of people out there celebrating over the weekend, celebrating this morning. The 20 remaining hostages from Gaza who are alive were released. The hostages who did not survive, that's kind of the next step, releasing the bodies. And then that's step one of this 20-point peace deal.
Yes.
So we really don't have the information as to how, when, where, what's next, but everyone's keeping a very close eye on things.
Yeah, all the videos of everybody, the embraces and the reunions have been pretty amazing to watch. You know,
it's very emotional.
No matter who you are or what side of the aisle you're on, I feel like if you're missing someone, if it's your mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, even best friend or long lost friend, I think there's an emotional part of this, you know, because family, like humans, real people are involved.
I was going to say we're all people.
Yeah.
And we all understand that type of loss.
We do want to, we shared the poll question with you that many of you are chiming in with that QR code YouTube poll question. You can also chime in. The link is at the top of the chat. And now we're going to go to Big Dave. We're going to go to Dave this morning. We're getting
just
a lot
out of nowhere, Dave. Out of
comments.
nowhere. You didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of comments on this poll, like we do every poll, and that's fantastic. John T. Pierce in Chandler says, "Seen the song and dance too many times not to temper my hopes, but I respect that the goal for USA is to stop the fighting and the dying. This could be the approach that works." And then on the other side, Harkstone 1 says, "These people have been killing each other since the beginning of time. It will never end. We need to stay out of the Middle East and never get dragged into any Middle East conflict." So many good comments. Keep them up, guys. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, we like seeing your face too, buddy.
Thanks.
There's a chair right here for you, Dave, if you wanted to keep it warm before Ty comes in.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, so we're talking about a really interesting topic, and it has to do with telling jokes at work.
How to be funny at work.
How to be funny.
Can you be funny at work?
Is it appropriate? And what type of jokes are appropriate as well? So this morning, welcome Andrew Tarvin with Humor That Works. Andrew, good morning. Good to see you.
As well.
Fantastic.
Is this your studio, or where are you hanging this morning?
Yeah, this is the studio. We do a lot of, in addition to in-person events, some virtual events, and so there's the microphone, the stand-up microphone back there, and all that to teach people about the value of humor in the workplace.
You have a very fantastic title. You are a humor speaker and an engineer.
That's right. Yeah, my self-proclaimed title is humor engineer because I have a degree in computer science and engineering, and I used to solve problems using computer science, like programming and things like that. And now I help organizations solve problems using humor. So I was like, I think that makes me a humor engineer, even if Google had never heard of the job title before.
I think it's such an interesting mix. I have my cousin's my best friend. I'm only 5 days older than her. Our moms are sisters. She's an engineer in the tech industry in Silicon Valley. and she has all these very like right brain creative type of very gifts. And I think for you, this is kind of a gift. I think humor brings a bit of levity to heavy things.
It brings people together.
And what are some of the reactions you're seeing from the companies, and how are they being helped by humor in the workplace?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think a lot of the reaction is initially a little bit of surprise. And particularly when I talk to senior leaders after showing them the research about the value of humor in the workplace and we talk more about it, the reaction is kind of like, I wish I had known this sooner. Like, I wish I had permission to have a little bit more fun in my job earlier on. And that's why it's a big part of the mission of what we do with sharing with people, is because it is so valuable. It is a thing that, when done well, which is obviously the caveat, but it can be a thing that advances your career and can help you to, improve communication and relieve stress a little bit more. And I think people long for that, like, especially in the way that we work every single day. It's a valuable way to say, okay, we don't have to take ourselves too seriously, even if we do take our work seriously.
So, Andrew, break it down for us, and what type of humor is appropriate in the workplace? And granted, every workplace is different. I feel like maybe, I don't want to say we push the envelope in a newsroom.
We do.
But we push the envelope in a newsroom, probably make some inappropriate jokes
1000%.
all the time. But you can't necessarily do that at maybe a doctor's office. Or can you? Because you're not necessarily doing it in front of patients. You're talking about colleagues and coworkers.
Exactly. All of those things come into play. And I think you all have done it, even just this morning in the last kind of 3 minutes of me kind of tuning in. You all very well, like, kind of moderated a very serious conversation around the Middle East, but then also the humor of the kind of interaction back with the chat, and kind of a little bit of self-referential humor as well. So it all depends on the context. It depends on, so what we say, our medium, so how humor is taking place, the audience, so who's receiving that humor, right? The two of you knowing each other very well, you're going to use different humor than if you're meeting someone for the very first time.
Inside
or same thing
jokes,
with doctors,
like inside
patients.
jokes, you mean?
Like, if they know a patient that they've seen for 10 years, they can probably joke with them a little bit differently than if, you've met them for the first time. And then finally, the thing that I think a lot of people miss out on is the purpose of that humor. So rather than trying to say jokes for the sake of people thinking that you're funny, if you have a clear intention or reason behind it of like, oh, I'm a leader, so I want to use humor in my meeting with some of my direct reports so that we can reduce some tension and I can show that I don't take myself too seriously. That level of intentionality helps to make sure that you're using humor that's appropriate and that's going to land, and also ultimately kind of serve your goal. Because again, the goal isn't to be that hysterical class clown type person, but rather to be more effective.
A lot of people in the chat, we have a very active chat on YouTube, are saying, yeah, there's too many uptight people out there. One of your things that you shared early on when you just joined us was humor can actually propel your career. So for people who are watching or hanging in the chat, how does humor help us get promoted or help us, maybe have a better work experience?
Yeah, well, I'll frame it with a very simple, very important, very dumb question that I would love Syleste and Anita for you to answer, but also for people in the chat to answer as well.
Okay.
And the very simple, very important, very dumb question is, would you all rather do something that is fun or not fun?
Well, not fun, of course.
I'm going to go fun.
Not fun, Andrew. Who wants to have fun and laugh and smile?
Exactly, right? Yeah. So I'm sure as people in the chat share and things like that, everyone says fun, right? So it
Yeah.
kind of stands to reason then, if you were to, make your emails just a little bit more fun, would people be more likely to read them? Or if you were to make your news a little bit more fun, would people be more likely to pay attention? And the engagement you all have in your chat, you can kind of see that as the answer is yes. Or even in your own work, if you were to make it just a little bit more fun, would you be more excited and engage in the way that you approach every day? And that's what the research shows. There's tons of research from different places that talk about how it can be valuable. And ultimately, it's a way of showing that you are a human. I think so many people put on a work face when they go into the work, and it's all like work, work, work. And the thing that we share sometimes with our audience is, I do believe most people are very likable people at home. and then something happens to go into the workplace and they become this shell of a human that no one really wants to interact with. And that doesn't create for an engaging workplace and doesn't make you as someone that's going to stand out to be like, oh, I want to spend more time with this person and giving them a new opportunity or a new role.
You know, I think you bring up a really good point with like, the different places, right? Home versus work. And I think for our job, and Anita, you can chime in on this too, is that I think that it takes a certain number of years to feel vulnerable enough to go, okay, this is really who I am with all my imperfections. And I'm not perfect and no one is. And then that makes the job more fun because you realize that you're all in the same boat together.
Correct. And we all work together. We have for so long that we know what our imperfections are. And I think that we can tease each other and, as you mentioned, have a little bit of fun. On a serious note, you don't want to be offensive, though. And if you, I guess it's like,
you don't want to make anyone cry, Andrew. No tears.
You have to be able to read the room, though, right? You need to know when to. You don't want to get fired.
When it's appropriate.
Yeah, you don't want to get fired.
Exactly, yeah. And so one of the things that we kind of recommend for people is what you could call either the newspaper rule or maybe you call it the Fox 10 Talks rule, which is basically like, would you want whatever it is that you said or did showing up as a news story that you all talk about? And it's like, in general, probably
no,
not.
Andrew, no.
You're like, sorry, I should frame that.
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
If it did get talked about, would you be happy about it?
Right.
And so would you be comfortable with your boss or everyone, like your friends and your mom, et cetera, to read this joke that you said in the workplace? And if you're like, yep, I'm cool with that, then it's probably appropriate humor. If you're like, I don't know if I'd want my boss to hear that thing that I said about them, then probably not appropriate. So I think that's one easy way to do it and to recognize that, absolutely, that the humor that we use in the workplace is very different than the humor that we use with our friends. And we want to, in general, keep it more positive and inclusive. But I think the big thing is that so many people let that fear prevent them from even trying it. So the bigger danger is no one using humor at all. And something that I learned from my mom, who spent her entire career in HR, is she ultimately told me at once, like when I was kind of struggling at work once, she was like, ultimately, you are responsible for your own happiness.
That is
and
so
I think
true.
that absolutely applies in the workplace.
Absolutely. Andrew Tarvin, we have about 15 seconds left. How do we find you? How do other people find you?
Absolutely. If you like this kind of thing, you can go to humorthatworks.com. We've got a free assessment to kind of find out what kind of funny you are, and you're welcome to take that to learn how you get started. So humorthatworks.com.
Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Thank you. We hope it helped many of you out there as well. And I think we have such a unique format on AZAM where it's
that we can be ourselves.
Yeah, and we can make
for the
fun
most
of
part.
each other.
Mike Fernandez says really quickly, when I'm hosting a meeting, I think of everyone as my friends and I'm just having a conversation with my homies.
Yes.
Hi's coming in.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Woo! Celeste and I are very riveting. I'm good. Do you know what the viewers loved last week?
What?
When you came in and you told me that I was looking you over up and down, and then I didn't comment and just looked you over up and down again.
You do elevator eyes to me, and you don't realize
What
that
are
you're doing-
elevator eyes?
We go like this.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
yep. Ooh, Krystal, give her elevator eyes.
I don't want to be a part. I don't want to be a part of this.
What's been going on with this weather?
That would be Tropical Systems' fault, not mine. Thank you very much.
You've been handling it just
Beautifully.
You've been so busy.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it has
I'm
been
really
busy.
impressed.
I mean, honestly, we knew ahead of time the forecast was pretty clear, so hopefully we were able to give enough warning for folks to have put out the sandbags and avoid some flooding. But we know that Mesa got hit pretty hard. We know that Globe is still getting hit pretty hard. So we're still tracking that. Still storms out there.
When you were watching everything last week, I asked you a little bit about the forecasting and what you were doing, and you said with storms like that, it's difficult because they can move quickly one way, they can weaken, they can strengthen.
That was a while back when Priscilla was still pretty far down in the Pacific and was still hurricane, and we needed to see how she was going to start to fall apart, like how quickly would the system weaken, and then how close to the Baja would it approach before it fully fell apart, lost its tropical elements. And it's that component when it's really far out, like 5 days, that it's hard to pinpoint exactly where the heaviest rain is going to be. And that's when you look at a lot of different model guidance to kind of see if there is consensus amongst models, and if there isn't, which way are you leaning and why. But unfortunately, things panned out in a way where we were able to fairly accurately forecast what was going to happen.
Absolutely.
Take a look at the rain totals here, Thursday through Sunday. These are the totals that we've picked up so far. Gila Bend Air Force Auxiliary Field picked up almost 4 inches of rain. In Flagstaff, about 2.5 inches of rain. Show Low at about 1 inch. Prescott at about almost 2 inches. And then Globe between 2 and 3 inches as well were the reports. And these are just some of the reports. There were nearby ones that were a little bit higher in total. So this is a look at Phoenix Sky Harbor. And you can see that Thursday we started with 1/10 of an inch. Friday we picked up 1/4 of an inch, about 3/4, on Saturday, and then nearly 2 inches officially on Sunday. Really exceptional. Set rain records both Saturday and Sunday for each date. And we already well above what is average for an October. We're at like 3 inches for the month, and an average October is about 1/2 an inch of rain.
We have a new viewer with a question.
Oh, okay.
Dakota WX1. Hey, Krystal, since it's a marginal risk, do you think it's favorable for tornado warnings?
Oh, wow. Okay, we've got someone who's got some weather knowledge. Hey, Dakota, what's up? So I've been looking at some of the parameters, not for the valley necessarily, but as you go like eastern Gila County, there is at least a low end potential for that. I look for how much spin we might have in the atmosphere, things like that. And as the thunderstorms develop this afternoon, we'll have to see. There is not any tornado watch out. I don't want anybody to freak out. But there is, as what he's mentioning, something marginal is basically kind of like on the severe scale, which is a map that's put out across the whole country. Kind of like a 1 out of 5 is where we are. But typically, most of the year, we're at a 0 out of 5. So anytime we have even a number, a 1 or a 2, that can be somewhat of a big deal. So there is the possibility of some severe storms. Damaging winds would be the main threat with any severe storms that develop, but you can't rule out an isolated tornado to develop in this kind of weather setup that we're under. We actually did have one tornado warning, I believe it was on the far east edge of the state yesterday. So I haven't heard anything of tornado spawning from that, but it's a good question.
Dakota says yep to the weather background.
Love it. Oh, he's saying, he's getting real deep. He said, check out the Photographs QT. That's like, that's a meteorologist or someone who really likes weather. But thanks for watching, Dakota. Okay, so let's talk totals across the map. This is 7-day rain totals for Maricopa County Flood Control District, but obviously it's really 4-day rain totals. It's just that the data comes through on a weekly basis. So these are totals from Thursday through yesterday. And in the West Valley, most numbers were between 1 and 2.5. You can see we're about 2.5 up in the Surprise
Look at that
area.
3.5 up there near the 303 and the 17.
Wait till you see the east.
It's pretty amazing. That was in part due to one line of storms that passed by. I believe it was Friday morning that really dumped right over the Deer Valley area. And then for most of Phoenix into Scottsdale, it was between 1 and 2 inches of rain. And then the East Valley is where we saw the biggest totals, which last week we were saying was likely going to be the case, that we'd skew east in terms of the highest numbers. Between 3 and 4 inches, very widespread. You can see from Tempe along the 60 to Gilbert, and then all the way out to AJ in that 3 to 4 inch range. So we still have rain falling actively as we speak. You can see the rain and storms really coming together in the south and southeast corner of the state. And then there's a few storms lifting through Mojave County as well. So I'm going to freestyle this because we are we're on the fly here. But I want to show where some of these storms are down in like the Tucson area and the southeast corner of Arizona, because those are the storms that we'll be watching as some of them lift into Pinal County. You can see a few of them packing a bit of a punch. We got some lightning with them at least. No severe warnings or anything. But that's going to lift through Pinal County and likely pass through the valley. So about midday, I'd say like noon, 1 o'clock window, we should be seeing some storms pass through the valley. And then this is all rain that is tracking towards Globe as well. And the question mark is going to be, do we see any severe thunderstorms with the rain that passes through midday and into the afternoon hours as well? For the Globe area, we actually have storm chances all the way into the early evening. So a handful of hours where we'll be watching out. This is a look at our future cast to time everything out. Model's doing a fairly good job of showing where things are currently and where they're moving. So here we go. That is one, and you can see it does have the valley getting clipped with some thunderstorms. And then we'll watch Globe all the way through to like Graham-Greenlee County for some strong to severe weather that may brew. You can see it's kind of lifting up to the northeast by 5 o'clock. And I will say this latest model run is not quite as aggressive over the Globe area when it comes to those storms. And then this continues on into about 10 o'clock at night, but the storms are weakening at this point. We're losing energy of the day. We're also, we've been wringing out this atmosphere for days and days. So as we go overnight and into tomorrow, finally, we should put a pause on all the moisture. There's isolated chances in the high country for showers, but we will begin to dry out tomorrow.
All right. Man, you have been busy. And by the way, you've done a fantastic job keeping everybody
Thank you.
up to date. So
You know
kudos
what?
to you.
That's
You
the
get
goal.
Friday off.
I actually do get Friday off. I work
You
Saturday, but and Anita said it, so
Yeah, there you go. Well, Krystal, thank you.
You were talking about that Globe Miami area with the rain, and so the portions, if y'all have any family or friends up there, portions of the US 60 are closed this morning indefinitely because of all of that flooding out there. So both directions in the US 60, this in the Superior area, both ways between Main Street and Western Avenue, and then closer to Globe on the US 60. So we have live Oak Street, both directions from Forest Avenue to Reppy Avenue. So this is what we're being told. Traffic is being rerouted onto the 177 and the 77. If you do head out into that direction, ADOT has signs out there. They will be rerouting you. They're going to make sure that you get where you need to go safely. Just be very, very careful because there are closures there for a reason.
And we had, Daniel Miller and her photographer went up to that Globe Miami area this morning.
It was raining while she was there.
Yeah, but she said it took her about 2.5 hours to get from the valley to get up there. So definitely, if you do have to travel anywhere between that Globe Miami area in the valley, you're definitely going to want to give yourself plenty of time.
One more graphic, if I can pull it up, you guys. Let me see if this works for us. There we go. So westbound US 60, the last time we checked, was closed from milepost 240 to 244. Again, if you're familiar with that area, and then eastbound US 60 closed, milepost 226 to 244. So it's still raining. They're still looking at more potential rain out there. And like Krystal said, our ground is already so saturated. Yeah. The more that we're getting, the more flooding that we're going to see. So please be safe out there.
And you can always check ADOT. They do a fantastic job
updating
on their X account, as well as you can go to AZ511 and they will give you all the information too. If these open up, maybe I had a schedule, which would be helpful for some folks out there.
We had flooding in the valley as well. I know Mesa was hit. We had a lot of standing water. I posted a little video, just Scottsdale Thunderbird intersection. So this is really affecting statewide. And it's not just the flooding and the damage and the devastation, but we brought Irene in because we're also talking about, unfortunately, people who are missing because of all the flooding.
Yeah, I know. A couple of weeks ago, we had people that were missing up there. At that point, we saw search and rescue dogs out there kind of combing through some of the damage, trying to find people maybe trapped underneath cars. But the person we're seeing right now and who we're talking about is Vincent Upton. Now, he disappeared around 3:30 yesterday morning. So this was actually not in Globe. This was in Rainbow Valley area. That's south of Goodyear. So a kind of a different area we're talking about right now. And just shows, you guys mentioned how much was really, the valley was hit by these floods too. It's not just Globe, which was obviously hit very hard. So they said they found his truck in the floodwaters, but he was nowhere to be found. So his family, his friends, so many people are reaching out. They had a search party of so many people, dozens of people, I believe it was, who were out there trying to find him. And so far, they have had no luck in finding him.
And we're seeing, excuse me, kind of where his truck ended up.
Yeah, right
and
there.
You can see it's pretty much dried up, but you can see all of that mud out there.
You can see how deep the water was and how maybe quickly it carried the truck. Do we know, does he live in that area? Was he working in that area? The situation that led him to that area?
Sure. Well, I believe it looked like it was a work vehicle or some kind of work truck he had out there, and there were 50 volunteers that were out there looking for him. So I'm not sure as far as exactly where he lived. But again, yeah, he was out there driving. It was 3:30 in the morning, so it happened overnight.
And that's kind of hard too, because
you can't see either. It's dark out at 3:30.
In that area. There's no street lights. It's
well,
just
and
rural.
here's also what's tough is we were getting those emergency alerts on our cell phones, and I know that we've had portions of the state that don't have fantastic cell phone service. So sometimes those alerts are coming in, warning of flash flooding, which can come in seconds, minutes, and people don't always necessarily get those. So obviously we'll be doing a little bit more digging and figuring out what exactly happened out there. But these are tough. I mean, Hi Johnny says all the mountains and valleys outside of Globe is what they need to worry about. That area drains down through Globe. And so that's something to think about as well. And Jen Walls, I'm not sure, Jen, where you live, if you can remind us, but she said she had 4 inches of water.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she was able to dig a little trench around the wash. And, we're always very excited about the rain here in the valley because we don't often see it and we need it. But unfortunately, when there is too much, we have to.
We need more of a balance, I think.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen in the desert.
No, apparently not.
Yeah, I know Danielle was talking to the mayor, and maybe you can speak on this, Danielle, as well, of Globe, talking about what can be done in the future, because this is a community located, right in the mountains.
Yeah.
And so you have that water running off. It's not like you can relocate an entire community.
We have video. This was from over the weekend.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, unbelievable. Just like what is usually just kind of a small little meandering wash, just looks like a raging river right through the middle of town there in Globe. And we talked to the mayor, Al Gamero, and he was just saying how they have just been devastated now by kind of a 1-2 punch. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, we saw that catastrophic flooding that moved through. And then over the weekend, this is exactly what happened.
This
the
almost
second
looks
round.
just as bad.
I know, just almost as bad.
It's interesting. When Danielle was live, I was watching, getting ready to do the traffic update on the US 60. All those storefronts, if you look, have sandbags at their doors. So.
And the mud, just the amount of mud that was going through some of those businesses and homes. It is heartbreaking to see.
Well, thank you, Irene. We appreciate it. We will be back, everyone. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we have something fun to talk about. Real treat coming up in just a bit.
We'll be right back. All
This
right,
is
well,
exciting.
This is very exciting. We have Ripalta.
Ripalta.
You are an opera singer
A real life opera singer.
I am.
from Italy.
From Italy.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
You are bellissimo.
Oh,
Bellissima.
thank you so much.
Yes, bellissima. My goodness.
Buongiorno is the only Italian I know.
I know bellissimo.
Oh, and grazie.
Grazie.
Prego.
How would you say, can I have some wine, please?
Posso bere del vino, per favore?
Posso bere vino, por favore?
Perfect.
I'm just going to remember vino. How did you become an opera singer?
I started to sing when I was young, really, with in a church, with a little concert, and then I started to study. And I have now 2 master's degrees in opera singing and theater at Conservatory of Music in Italy.
Wow.
And I traveled a lot. I won a lot of singing competition in the world, and with with this love, this is my love. I traveled a lot. I sang around the world, from Japan, Egypt, Greece, and Barcelona, and Brussels, and now I'm here.
I love it. And you live in the Valley now, right?
Yes.
You reside here.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, okay, so when you're a younger girl, I mean, I think a lot of people want to grow up to be maybe a pop star or a rock star. What was it about opera that was like, that's what I want to do?
Yes, because all my family love opera. I remember my grandpa listened to Callas and Pavarotti. I was young. I was like, oh my God, how they can, touch this high note like an angel. And that's it. I discovered that I have this kind of voice.
You're lucky enough to have the talent.
Yeah, but the talent needs
hard
to
work.
needs to study, to work with a lot of sacrifice.
So when you say that, when you're saying that you're studying, what are you studying? How does someone get to your level of opera? Because you have to be gifted with a beautiful voice.
Yes.
But you have to train that voice, learn.
A lot.
Because opera is not easy, it's complicated.
Yes. You need to know what happens inside of you, because, the voice, it's a really instrument, like the pianoforte or violin, but this instrument you can see, you can touch, you can see what is. The voice is inside of you. This is hard to know, but it's beautiful because you can know what happens inside, and you can sing, and you can move the people, you can touch the people with your voice, and it's hard, really hard. But it's amazing for me. It's my life.
I was going to ask you, when you perform, do you still get nervous? Do you get those jitters?
Yes,
and
I am.
As a professional, how do you get over those nervous jitters?
Really, I do a prayer before.
Yeah.
And I have all my support of my angel from Italy, that is my family. I have my love here, Gabriele, and of course, you need to be nervous, because Pavarotti says that you need to be like nervous to be more perfect outside.
Right, yeah.
If you feel, okay, I can go, no, you can forget something. I don't want to forget nothing.
Yeah.
So
that's like when we're reading the news. If you're not just a little, I think that when you're a little bit nervous and you're a little concerned that you might mess up or make a mistake, you're more focused. You mentioned that you sing solo and that you also perform in theater. Which do you prefer?
I really prefer to perform in theater.
Oh.
I'm an opera singer. I like sing, love, and die, on the stage.
Yeah.
And so my favorite opera, for example, is Rigoletto, La Traviata di Giuseppe Verdi, or Barbiere di Siviglia, Rossini. So I really like opera, but I sing every kind of music also. So it's.
Some people might say opera is boring, it's too complicated, I don't understand it. For someone who's never really sat down to appreciate it, what are some tips? How would you explain to them What would you explain to them to look for, to listen for, the first time they go to the opera?
Yeah, good question. So the opera is a story. This story that you go to listen, to watch, it's the story that you live during your life. This can be like an example for like a tip for your life, but you need to know, maybe to learn to read a little bit the story before you go in the theater. And sometimes there are some titles, some words that you can read, but I know that it's art. Because when you sing, I can say, how are you, talking. But if I say, how are you, you can say, oh, what she said. So I know. But, with a little confidence, you can do one time. And then second and third and fourth, you can love the opera.
Someone is asking... Jens, we are going to ask her to sing, but we have to be careful with copyrights. One question is, are you telling stories with your voice? And another question is, have you ever broken glass with your voice?
I tried one time because I have a really high notes. For example, who knows the opera? One of my best song aria is the Queen of Night.
Oh, the one she was like,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, this one. So, but you need to crystal. A glass. No, just glass.
Oh, not just regular glass.
Yes.
Okay, so nothing in here will break if we...
No.
Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you, you have obviously performed all over the world, but being here in the desert, we always talk about how dry it is. Does that affect you as an opera singer, the climate that you're in?
So before I thought like this, oh my God, now what can happen? But you can use the humidificator, and you can just have a little, a cortezze, a little things to do before. But I'm feeling good, really. I don't feel too much something of wrong in my voice. Fortunately.
Do you ever have to think about that though? Like if you go to a higher elevation, how that will affect
where you're
breath control and that kind of thing.
What to do?
Yeah.
Well, I think when you travel to different parts of the world.
I use every time the mask. Before COVID, I used the mask everywhere. Everywhere. You need, this is my instrument. If I lose this, I can work.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in Arizona?
How?
Yeah, why?
For love.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amore.
For amore.
Okay.
You're my love.
Hi.
He's here.
So you're engaged?
He's over there.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations. You guys aren't married yet?
Yes.
You're married?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. Very exciting. Can you teach us anything?
Oh.
Teach us?
Like a couple notes?
Notes?
I'm a really bad singer.
You can do
All right, ready
like a little scale.
Okay.
La, 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 la.
You go first.
No. You go.
No. La, 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 la.
Okay, don't move too much the face, but just smile.
Okay.
Open your eyes.
Okay.
La, 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 la.
I cannot sing.
La,
He can sing better than I can.
La, la.
Higher.
I can't
La,
go
la,
higher.
la, la, la.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps. No, I'm not going to try that.
Try.
No, the lights are going to go out.
No.
That is impressive.
Will you be performing in the Phoenix area?
Yes.
Where can people see you?
Oh, yes, you have to come to listen me and to enjoy the festival, the Italian festival. I will perform the next 25 and 26 October at Scottsdale waterfront. I will sing there for 3 times a day. So it will be great also because there will be also the big guest, Ferragamo Junior, and you can buy because there will be a lot of Italian shops, Italian restaurants, Italian musicians. You can enjoy, you can feel the Italian flag.
Yeah, I love it.
Which you're wearing, the red and the green and the white.
There?
No, that's the flag.
Yeah, why?
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm Italian. I dress Italian flag. Also because it's Columbus Day today. And also because, the pizza is Italian.
Okay.
Cheese.
Yes.
While you're here, I have to ask you, if you want the best Italian food In the Phoenix metro area, where do you go as
oh my
a
God.
true Italian?
I don't know if I can say
Oh,
this.
come on.
I love
Olive Garden.
I can
Little Caesars.
I can say no. I can say
Okay, she doesn't want to say. All right.
I can say that there are a lot of Italian great restaurants. So where also I perform. So you can watch me, follow me on social media.
Okay.
I can post because where I sing, it's because you can hit good.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
So you can follow.
And I wanted to talk about your CD too, your album.
Yes, I recorded this CD, this Italian CD, and calls Italian From Italy with Love, dall'Italia con amore, and inside there you can listen all beautiful Italian songs from Andrea Bocelli to Volare, O Sole Mio, and other beautiful Godfathers, a lot of Italian
Classic,
songs.
Yeah, the classics.
Can I ask you, we have a few minutes left, about your costumes, because that's part of the opera.
Yes.
The beautiful costumes that really put you in that moment.
From I was child, baby, I loved the princess costume, of this princess, Disney princess.
Cinderella, Snow White.
Oh, mamma mia. Right? Can you imagine that now I can dress this beautiful dress, singing, yeah, it's a big deal. You can dress big dress. You can stay a little comfortable, not always comfortable.
It's not as strict as it used to be. Perhaps they've relaxed the costumes and making sure that you're comfortable and you feel good.
Yes.
How
Mike
fun.
Fernandez told us not to quit our day job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. We know.
I don't think we're not destined to be singers.
I
Slowly
also
but surely.
teach.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So
I sing, of course, opera. But I do also singing lessons, private party, wedding.
Don't put us on your resume. Don't.
We're not.
You didn't do that well.
No, that is so cool.
Yes.
Well, it was so nice to meet you. Thank you
Me
so much for
too.
coming in. That was
Me
great.
too. Thank
And then
you.
we're going to put all that information if you want to go see her at the Italian Fest happening in Scottsdale, October 25th and 26th. She'll be performing there, so you can see her live and in person.
Yes, you can start to buy a ticket at website www.italianassociation.org.
That's going to be fun.
So will be great.
Yeah.
Really, you can come. Oh, you come, please.
Yeah, we'll come. We want to come
enjoy,
see
yeah?
you.
We're
Yeah.
going to come and sing.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the front
I
row.
performed 3 times with the tenors, along with the musicians. So I will
love
sing
it.
every day.
Thank you.
Grazie
Thank you
mille.
so much.
Prego.
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, Foxtel.
got one. You're up.
Good morning, you guys. Thanks for hanging with us here on Fox 10 Talks. It is already 11:30 this morning. I don't even know how that happens. Time flies when you're having fun and when you're busy, especially. We have Syleste joining us today. Ron is off for the week.
He is.
It's like we run from one thing to another, right?
Yeah, we're just making it work. Yeah. So good morning again to many of you in the chat. We love that you've all been hanging with us. Thank you. And let's get to some topics.
Yeah, it looks like they had a good guest on. I don't know who that was, but I love it. She's Ciao. She sounded great. The little tune that she dropped for us.
I just think she's beautiful. Like that big red flower. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, just incredible. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. So we have a lot to get to this half hour. And we are going to start with the report that we had this morning with Doug Lazater. Okay. All right. Sorry. So we had just a slight change in plans there. Sorry about that. So we're going to get right to our guest for today. We are speaking with Rex Brennan from McGill University. Brynen? From McGill University out of Montreal, Quebec. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Rex?
Good morning. Wow. Afternoon for me.
Oh, yeah, it is afternoon. That's right. What time is it there?
It's 2:30.
Okay. Oh, 2:30 in the afternoon already. All right. So you've had a busy full day, I would expect. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. So given everything that has unfolded between Israel and Hamas, we now have the signing of this peace deal, and we've seen those hostages being released and reunited with their families. Just walk through everything that we're seeing today and how that ties into your studies.
So as you know, we see the ceasefire agreement being signed. We have the release of the 20 Israeli hostages who are still alive. We have the release of almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. We have the obstacles being lifted to humanitarian assistance, so the UN and humanitarian agencies are able to get into Gaza. And we now have the difficult part, which is the beginning of the discussions of implementing the rest of President Trump's 20-point plan. I think it's important to recognize this isn't really a peace deal in the sense that it doesn't really have a roadmap to Israeli-Palestinian peace. It's more a ceasefire to end the fighting that we've seen in Gaza since October 7th. And that, of course, is very important given the massive loss of life we've seen in Gaza, the humanitarian suffering, and the regionally destabilizing effects of the war there.
You know, Rex, for years, I feel like so many people have been chatting about this whole thing. I remember in middle school, there was a saying that we used to say, peace in the Middle East. And it's something that has been chatted about for so many decades. Your thoughts on this development and where we go from here in the future? What does it mean kind of from a big picture standpoint? Is it one move in the right direction, or does it really just seem like, you know, we've done this already before?
Well, ending the intense fighting in Gaza was very, very important. We had a famine in Gaza. We had over 65,000 Palestinians killed there, the vast majority of them civilians. We had the Israeli hostages in Gaza. We had a lack of humanitarian access. So ending the fighting was very, very important. Mm-hmm. This, however, as I said before, isn't really a peace deal. This doesn't address the underlying Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It does have one rather vague clause in it about building conditions that might lead to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. But, you know, the occupation continues and so forth. The other thing, too, is that there is a lot of really difficult stuff that has to come now. The deal calls for Hamas to disarm. It doesn't want to disarm. The deal calls for Israel to withdraw from most or all of Gaza. It doesn't particularly want to withdraw. There needs to be this International Board of Peace, an international stabilization force, a kind of Palestinian technocratic limited government for a while. How is that all going to happen? There's supposed to be reconstruction, and given the level of destruction in Gaza, I really don't think we're going to see much reconstruction, to be perfectly honest. And there's lots of opportunities both for Israel and Hamas to stall in the middle. Mm-hmm. So it's going to require sustained pressure to get to the next phases of this agreement. And it's going to require some broader vision of how we bring peace between Israelis and Palestinians.
And Rex, and also part of this deal, not only did we see the return of those hostages and the reunification with their families, but Israel also had to give something up here, and that was the exchange for the prisoners. Can you give us a little more details as to how many of those have been released, and who maybe we might be seeing within that?
So the Palestinians who were released are a mix of a relatively small number of long-term Palestinian security prisoners who've actually been convicted of something, and a much larger number of Palestinians who had been detained without charge. There has been some argument over who should be on that list of the more important prisoners who are released. Marwan Barghouti, very popular Palestinian leader, almost certainly isn't going to be released. There are others who might be released. So as you might imagine in these negotiations, there's a lot of to and fro over who gets released. But that's a very important part of it as well. And certainly Palestinian families are rejoicing, as are Israeli families.
I understand there's a number of different steps to this peace deal, right?
Well, that's right. This is just the very initial step of releasing hostages, releasing prisoners, and a very limited Israeli pullbacks. Israel still occupies more than half the Gaza Strip. What is supposed to happen is a series of security measures are supposed to happen. Hamas is supposed to disarm, and Israel is supposed to withdraw in stages. The problem is the two sides are almost certainly going to accuse the other of dragging their feet. Hamas does not want to fully disarm, although I think it can be convinced to disarm its heavy weapons. Israel does not want to fully withdraw, although the U.S. might pressure it to do so in the end. And the two sides, I think, are going to, as I say, going to be dragging it out. We may get stuck in the middle for weeks and weeks and months and months. It's worth remembering that President Trump's ceasefire back in January fell apart. It didn't get past the first stage. I think there's more momentum this time, but there's a lot of devils and a lot of details in the next part of this agreement.
And Rex, can you also touch base on what is happening in Egypt today, just to get everybody up to speed and kind of how that plays a role in maybe some of what we saw today and the future of the Middle East and relations there between all these different countries?
Well, there's a meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh. The Egyptians are hosting a meeting to both to celebrate the ceasefire, but also to try and build international momentum in support of this process. I think that's something you often want to do. You want to create a sense of forward momentum. It helps propel you forward, generate some resources, generate some diplomatic pressure. Again, I think it's important to recognize this is not a peace process that we've started on. This is a ceasefire process, which, if successful, will result in some hybrid international Palestinian governance arrangements in Gaza, a full or partial Hamas withdrawal, a full or partial Hamas disarmament, full or partial Israeli withdrawal. It's not really getting us to a Palestinian state alongside Israel in peace and security, although there is some mention of that very briefly in the agreement. So it's important to generate that international support, but it's also important not to get so focused on Gaza that we lose sight of the broader conflict. October 7th, after all, occurred in the first place because the Israeli-Palestinian conflict had not been resolved by successive U.S. administrations.
As we kind of look ahead even farther, can you break it down for us? Like, I think sometimes when we have these big world events, it's hard for us on Main Street to say, okay, how does this affect me? How does this affect my family? Are there resources involved? Are we talking gas prices, the economy, when we're talking about those international relations between world leaders and economies?
Well, obviously, Middle East is a economically and geostrategically sensitive and important region. Instability in the Middle East can have knock-on effects. We saw that the war in Gaza led to an Israel-Hezbollah war in Lebanon, led to an Israel-Iran war, led to Houthi attacks on Israel and Israeli retaliation, partial closure of the Red Sea to shipping. So this war in Gaza had a lot of broader effects. It cost billions of dollars in weapons, humanitarian assistance, and so on and so forth. The continuation of the war feeds regional radicalism potentially. But of course, we should also remember that 65,000 people died roughly in Gaza, of whom almost half were children. Hundreds and hundreds of aid workers died, aid workers and medical workers died in Gaza. So I think there's both a kind of material and a strategic concern that we all have, but also a human concern about the atrocious loss of life. I mean, Gaza is more destroyed than is typically the case at the end of a conflict. 75, 80, 85% of all houses damaged or destroyed, all schools, all medical facilities, all agricultural
Wow.
production. It's a truly apocalyptic situation in Gaza. And so that's why I think we should be very happy that we see the ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. And Rex, I want you to stay with us because we have some of what the president spoke about this morning as well during his time there. He obviously met with the hostage families earlier today and then spoke at Parliament. So let's take a listen to hear what he had to say earlier this morning.
From October 7th until this week, Israel has been a nation at war, enduring burdens that only a proud and faithful people could withstand. It was a very tough period of time. For so many families across this land, it has been years since you've known a single day of true peace. But now at last, not only for Israelis, but also for Palestinians and for many others, the long and painful nightmare is finally over. And as the dust settles, the smoke fades, the debris is removed, and the ashes cleaned from the air, the day that breaks on a region transformed, and a beautiful and much brighter future appears suddenly within your reach. This is now a very exciting time for Israel.
Yep. So I just wanted to, sorry, we switched seats and Ron's off today. So sorry about bringing you up, popping you up there.
No, I'm ready
So
all
that's
the
just
time.
a little bit of what the president had to say this morning. So Rex, I just wanted to get your reaction on that. When you look at this moment and know, obviously, it's a moment that will be studied in history at some point. What do you take from all of this in teaching your students there at McGill University?
Well, I mean, the president is a politician and he's taking a politician's victory lap. But it's important to remember we haven't. Again, this is not a peace process. This doesn't end the conflict. This ends the active fighting in Gaza, one hopes, and begins to see a withdrawal, disarmament of Hamas and so forth. But it is a very interim thing. It's not like the peace process of the 1990s, which had clearer end goals. The day after Gaza remains an apocalyptic wasteland, the day after the occupation continues in the West Bank, one hopes that it creates a sort of momentum that moves us forward, but that will be very, very difficult. There are challenges on all sides. Hamas has not gone away. The current Israeli government is vehemently opposed to granting the Palestinians political rights. The Palestinian Authority in the West Bank needs political and administrative reform. So
Rex,
lots of things that need to happen. I think it's important that we don't treat it as a victory lap because we're 1 or 2% of the way through the process. There's a lot harder things to do. And I think there's a bit of a danger that politicians focus on this and not the broader issues that gave us the war in the first place. So it's an important step, but it is not the biggest or hardest step. It's only sets the stage.
It's the first of many
important things to come in terms of generating an actual Israeli-Palestinian peace process.
Okay. Rex, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Big D. Big D. So he didn't realize.
Live here at this hour. This is a look at your mystery cam. I know the interview went a little long, so we are now bringing you the mystery cam. We're just kind of debating on whether or not those are bugs or flies, or maybe birds that are hovering around this camera. But this is an absolutely beautiful shot. Clouds that Bob Ross would definitely be envious of this morning, but a beautiful blue sky, and it looks like they have a little bit of weather probably just scootering over the city. And so in the chat, we do have Frankie D says he thinks this is Texas. We have a Be Kind Forever says Oregon. And if anybody else has any thoughts on this, we'd love to hear from you. So thank you all for chiming in and sharing that with us. Little Philosophy also says Texas.
Oh, Texas.
And Frankie D, yes, these are happy clouds. Happy clouds.
Yeah, they're not our rain clouds that we've been seeing all weekend into today. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You thought they were birds flying around. I said, I don't know. They look like they might be flies, and I might have some nightmares of flies today. We were out at the McDonald's farm there, up in kind of way north Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And there were so many flies on the farm. But right, it's a farm, so we expect them. But
and
I was just laughing at that.
Says those are really amazing clouds, and they are.
They are.
They are just beautiful. Jared of Sonora says gorgeous clouds. I'm enjoying the ones here, though. I know, and we have had some amazing sunrises and sunsets here across Arizona. I know it's been catastrophic when we talk about the weather, but it has been it's been made for some beautiful skies, that is for sure.
Yeah, it has. So do you want to do the honors?
Do you have a guest?
Bring us
do you have
out
a guest, Des?
I'm just going to go with Texas. Sure. Sounds good.
All right. I'll go Oklahoma
Okay.
this morning just for fun. We've got an Oregon as well. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Melinda, are you here? Be Kind Forever. Good morning to you. And let's see. Macon, Georgia.
Oh,
so that's a beautiful shot there.
Darn, none of us got it right.
That is a beautiful, beautiful shot. And I think we may have stumped you all at 11 or 10 a.m. this morning as well.
What was the mystery cam earlier?
I don't even remember. I just remember nobody got it.
Dave? Calling Dave? Do you
yeah, he doesn't remember
either.
Once you're just chatting away, things kind of whoosh. We're just like the rest of you out there.
Hey, we should pull up the Dave cam, by the way.
Big
Dave, I'm warning you. Here you come. Say hi.
Hi.
How's your Monday, Dave?
Monday's terrific. Thanks for asking.
Good. All right, so you didn't remember the mystery cam from earlier either. James?
No.
Did James?
So busy.
Yeah.
No, James wasn't here.
Yeah, we've been so busy this morning.
Yeah. All right, and we have a lot to get to still. We're going to talk about some of the weekend rain and show you just what we were seeing all weekend long, really, even into, parts of early this morning, still a lot of that gloom hanging around. So what you're seeing right now is video that we took in Mesa from some of that rain this weekend, and then we obviously woke up to another very busy forecast all across the state. Severe rainstorms leading to flooding in the valley, destroying some homes in places like Mesa. Meantime, just outside of the valley, communities of Globe and Miami are in the bullseye yet again. So it's just devastating to see kind of some of what those folks have been dealing with.
It really has been. I mean, the video here is from the valley, and it has been a crazy last several days. I mean, look at kind of how the roadway just kind of crumbles from underneath the the top when you see all this water coming out. The hard thing, we had Krystal Ortiz, our meteorologist, here in the morning on earlier today, and what she shared was, unfortunately, when you have so much rain, one of the questions from, I think it was Brandy the bookworm in the chat, asked about the drought, and she said, is this helpful? And Krystal said, well, what happens is it saturates the ground. It's like a sponge, and then the more it rains, it's hard for the rain then to be absorbed by that sponge, and so there's nowhere for the water to go. I was doing a little research, and I mean, this right here is the park there in Scottsdale, but we have had a number of different rescues around the valley and in through southern Arizona, and it has been wild. So if you live up in our higher elevations or maybe in Scottsdale or Melinda, I think you might be down in in Tucson. Just, you may still want to be wary. We have still some strong storm systems coming in for the southeastern portion of our state. And those washes, they can really fill up quick. And sometimes when you're at sea level, that water has to come from somewhere. When it's raining in the mountains, it's coming through.
Mm-hmm. And some of the issues that we saw in Mesa, too, folks in one neighborhood there were saying that they had complained about a culvert that was kind of like running behind their homes, and that just overfilled. It knocked a lot of their, those walls down, the cinder block walls that folks have in their yards separating homes. And then that's what led to all the flooding in their area. So that was just really sad to see as well. And then we had, you mentioned, a lot of water rescues. Some of what you're seeing here in Maricopa, we saw one woman's commute that came to a halt when she tried to cross a low water crossing. But then some photos you're seeing here by rescues by the fire department, even having to use their ladder trucks at some points to kind of extend over those floodwaters so they could assist folks. You're seeing the chopper here that ended up bringing one person to safety, and then a few other people were stuck in two vehicles. In that situation there with the ladder truck, you can see that white pickup truck there submerged in the water. And I think it's important to, we always say, Syleste, right? Don't you get tired of saying it? Like, when you see the water, turn around, don't drown, turn around, don't drown. But this is exactly why. You never know how deep any of that sitting water is. Even for a high profile vehicle like that pickup we're seeing there.
And sometimes it's not the depth of the water, but it can be maybe 6 to 8 inches of water, and you think, oh, I can make it through in that truck. But it is the current at which the water is moving underneath. So it's not necessarily how deep the water is. Many of you all are amazing in the chat. They said they were butterflies that were hovering around that camera. Do you want to pop up the mystery camera one more time,
you want to
Des?
see if they're still there?
Let's see. Yeah, those butterflies. It's so awesome.
Right.
Well done. Okay, and then also, by the way,
eyes.
Jen's Wall says, I have a bright yellow butterfly in her yard all day. He's so pretty. Oh my goodness, it's so great. It's great. Thank you all for sharing that with us.
Well,
you
we
see
love
things a lot of
butterflies.
times that we do not see.
Yeah. Dave, what is our out time again? So I make sure we're on time. Okay. All right. Just making sure as we go along here. Do we have sound here from the sisters that came to that low water crossing? Is that SOT 3 there? Okay. I'm going to run that for you guys. Because we spoke to so it was sisters. They were in their vehicle and they tried to cross at that low water crossing. They said that they learned a very valuable lesson because of that. So let's take a listen to what they had to tell us.
From October 7th.
Follow the sign.
Follow the sign.
When it says road closed, don't go until like her.
Don't try to make it.
Okay.
Well, I asked SOT 3 and he said yes, so I hit it.
Don't try to make it.
And when the water's
I had
flowing,
one, and it took the back of my car.
and when the water's flowing, don't walk through it. I walked to my sister to her car, but I stayed out of the flowing water. Just be careful because you can get washed away.
Absolutely, right. They had a really good attitude, though, considering like their vehicle is now that's a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sitting in the water, and even the crew said, we don't think we can get the vehicle. Like the water has to recede first before they get that out. But
well, it's like so many times, like she mentioned, like the water is rough out there, like you never know what is in the water, and you never know how fast that water is moving underneath.
Yeah.
But good attitudes nonetheless.
Yeah, they
and
did.
We're glad
I think
they're
I would be
okay.
a little sad. We're definitely glad they're fine.
We're glad they're okay.
Oh man, good luck calling the insurance company about that one. Like, how do you explain that one? And then let's take a look. We had some canoe rescues as well in portions of town all across the state during these storms. So this is from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. It's a chopper here on scene of a rescue in Yavapai County. MCSO crews were called in to assist DPS, and they ended up helping 7 people here in this situation. They were stuck in canoes when those flash floods happen and everything from all that rain. This was Saturday. Good thing here is that everybody's okay. No officers were hurt in any of this, but they have a difficult job. for sure.
Well, I just think it's amazing for those of you who live, or maybe you're watching from all around the world. Good morning to Nathaniel. By the way, he is new to the chat this morning, and he's watching from Walmart. So I'm guessing he might be an employee, or maybe you're a greeter at Walmart. But when a lot of people take a look at this image right here, I'm thinking Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that. But this is Arizona. We have up in the Verde Valley, Verde is green in Spanish. Verde Valley, you have all of these areas and rivers and streams where you can do a lot of fishing, and you can do bass fishing in the Oak Creek there in Sedona. And you have these areas where people will canoe or they'll kayak. And sometimes you might be on the water and you're not watching the weather necessarily, and that water's got to come from somewhere. Where earlier this 30 minutes half hour or so, we've been talking about this morning about that water that falls on the outlying areas of the valley or in the mountains. It's got to come from somewhere, and so then the water just rushed in, and yeah, unfortunately they had to be rescued. We're just glad they're okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have other news to cover this morning as well. This story caught so many headlines. Former Jets quarterback here, Mark Sanchez, and current Fox Sports analyst, he has been released from custody. I'm sure maybe by now you've heard what happened. It was in Indianapolis. Police releasing this mugshot of Sanchez as he was booked during his arrest. He now faces a felony battery charge along with several misdemeanor charges after getting into a violent altercation with a truck driver over a parking space in Indianapolis last week. The driver was hurt in all of this too. He did pull out a knife and stab Sanchez multiple times, saying that he feared for his life. I think this story was very shocking when we saw this all unfold last week.
Well, I think because we weren't entirely sure, so often we only get half the details initially. We share it with all of you, and then we have to wait for additional details from the authorities. And it just seems so odd. One of the details coming from some of the witnesses, and I think it even came from TMZ when we interviewed them last Thursday about this topic, was that both Sanchez and the older gentleman, who they were both involved in this altercation, were videoing each other with their cell phones. That was like initially, I think, what the surveillance camera was looking at. And so it'll be interesting to see if any of that video will be released or what police will use in terms of, figuring this whole investigation out and looking into the matter.
And he did speak. Dave, do we have that sound? No? Okay. He did speak when camera crews had approached him. He basically said, I'll just paraphrase, he said he was focused on his recovery, looking forward to reuniting with his wife and his children. But definitely, he's got an uphill legal battle ahead for sure. And then Celeste, we had to throw this one in today. The cornflake controversy.
Yeah.
What's going on with this one?
So there is a situation happening where they believe that maybe the cartoon on the front of the Frosted Flakes is maybe kind of, drawing children in and making them think it's healthier than it is. So now they're looking into whether or not they just need to remove Tigger from the box of the Frosted Flakes and see if maybe, less children consume it. But at the end of the day, you walk down that cereal aisle and it's wild.
Well, I mean, look at Paw Patrol. All right. Thanks for joining us today, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to write the out time on here. I looked up and it was 55 and I'm like, then I looked